it's 2022, which means it's a new year, and that means I've got a lot more new videos that I've got to make, which means I'm going to be a very busy man this year. But today's video is something that you lot have been asking me, or no, begging me to do. Oliver, why have you waited so long to get this video made for you fans? So as you all are aware, I have been busy doing some model railway stuff. But for those of you who keep up to date to the channel, I have been busy collecting some Hornby, Thomas and Friends models, and these days it's not very hard to find, especially for a decent price. Yes, that's right, I'm missing James the Red Engine from my collection. But luckily, I found one! Hey, I got myself a Hornby James! Now I have to be honest, this was actually my Christmas present. Quite an expensive Christmas present actually. Now this is actually a DCC fitted James, and this actually wasn't that expensive. Actually, if you class £135 expensive, then that's a bit of a budget blown, isn't it, Mr. Oliver? Well, yes it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the Hornby James out of its box, and we're going to see what it's like. Ooh. Let's get into the intro. I'm going to go this way. Right, my friends, this is it. This is the final piece to my puzzle. Well, to the 2016 collection for the Hornby, Thomas and Friends. I'm really excited. I'm so glad I have a Hornby James now. This is just so cool, especially its DCC fitted one. So that's excellent. I'll give you a quick close up of the model in the box. We've got the Thomas and Friends logo there. And it says locomotive on the front, 00 gauge electric locomotive, and I'll show you guys the side very quickly. So it's James the Red Engine, and then the code for this, if it would focus, is R9290. Very nice. But this just looks so cool. I cannot wait to actually get this out of this box and just see what it's like. So, and I love the Thomas and Friends detailing on the box. There's a little bit of damage on the front. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera, because you know this is a wide angle lens, so it's, if anything, it's probably making it look straight. But this is it's got a bit of a dent on the front, which I'm a bit disappointed. But I really want to keep these boxes well looked after, because I want this to I want them to be in mint condition. Phone's ringing. Now there is one thing that does bother me a bit, but I'll get into that in a minute. But the colour on James just looks, I mean the shade of red that they chose for this model is fantastic. It's absolutely remarkable. So what I'm gonna do is, well, what I should do really is get it out of the box so you guys can get a better look at it. Yes, I should do that. So let's undo the flappy bit. I'm gonna grab it if I can get a grip. Give me it. I've got it. So I'm just gonna slide it out, and I'll keep the box to one side. Oh, the camera's gone slightly out of focus there, Oliver. We'll put the box there. Now, this is the bit where I'm a bit disappointed. The actual block case, I like to call it, the ice block, because it does look like a block of ice, doesn't it? It looks like it's frozen in time. But no, there is I'll actually zoom in for you guys a bit, so there we go. There is one thing that does bother me, is that this ice package isn't actually the original for this model. This case actually belongs to the Hornby Edward. So I actually, I'll get a good close-up for you guys so you guys can see. So I actually had to make a cut in the plastic so the funnel could go through, so it won't get damaged or bent or broken. So that is slightly annoying. That is not, it's an original package. The fact that I actually paid quite a lot of money for this, so I'm a bit annoyed for the previous owner who has had this and hasn't looked after it very well, so I'm a bit disappointed on that. But anyway, let's just get it out of this box. Let's just slide it out, shall we, so you guys can see it. Ooh, wow. And I have to say, this is probably one of the top Christmas presents I've got ever in my life, because this is actually a really nice model. So we're just going to get you out. I'm just going to grab you very carefully. Don't knock the camera, Oliver. We don't want that. Pop the model down, close it up, move that away. And let's have a look at the model itself. And here he is, James the Red Engine. That is amazing. I mean, the colour in the red is amazing, and I do like the colour in the dome and the whistles and the detail in the face. I'll see if I'll try and zoom in. Like, this camera is being very silly right now. I'll zoom in the face. You guys can actually have a good look at the face. It might have dropped frames per second, but at least you can actually see it. But there is the face. Now, the eyebrows are quite bigger than I expected because this is actually the CGI version. But I'm not a big fan of the CGI. I do prefer the models they use for the television show. But, you know, this is still quite a nice model. I mean, look at that red. That is beautiful. Now, the tender is more heavier than the locomotive because the motor is actually in the tender, because this is actually tender driven. But that does look nice. I'll try and zoom out for you guys a bit so it won't keep going out of focus, but there you go. Now, the detail in the car is actually quite good. Bear in mind, this is like, apparently that the box says that this is for 3+, but like, in my personal opinion, I wouldn't say that this is suitable for a 3-year-old, because a 3-year-old could drop this, because this does have a bit of weight to it. So a 3-year-old could drop this on their little toes and foot. So these models could do some damage. So that's the only concern I have. Show you guys the back quickly. It looks very nice on the back. There's no cab detail, but I wasn't really expecting cab detail. Bear in mind that this is James the Red Engine. But as I said, because the motor is in the tender, the wheels are free, just like Edward and Gordon, but not the Hornby Henry. I think Henry's the only tender engine that's actually loco driven, which is a bit weird. But yes, it does look very nice though, doesn't it? James the Red Engine. So, I can actually, you guys can't actually see. I think you can see that on camera if it focus. You can actually see, like, there's like the brake valve or whatever that thing is, that lever on the tender. You guys can see that very quickly. Don't know what that is, but like, I'm surprised that that bit of detail's there. That's actually quite extraordinary. But yeah, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pop James on the tracks and see what he looks like in close up, shall we? So let's do that. So there we are, my friends, James the Red Engine finally on my layout. Now, a lot of you guys have requested to do a review on James the Red Engine because a lot of you guys do like this model, and I totally agree. This is probably one of the most beautiful models I have because, it's a bright, shiny red. The number 5's got great detail, and I can't really see anything wrong with this model apart from the fact that it was not in its original casing. But apart from that, I don't actually see anything wrong with the model itself, except that the lamp irons are on upside down, which Hornby do have a habit of doing that, which is quite funny. But what we're going to do now is, well, first things first, I need to plug my controller in. There we go. And we're going to do a crawl test to see how well James the Red Engine handles at very slow speed. So let's do that, shall we, and see what it looks like. Okay, James, when you're ready, take it away and let's see how smooth or how well you run. So let's give it a little test, give it a little bit of power. Oh, there we go. I might have to zoom in because that is actually really, really smooth. Let's make him go forwards and see what it looks like when it's going slow forward. Look at that. That is running unbelievably smooth. So we'll try and get it in focus. There we go. That's a bit better. Let's zoom out a little bit. That is really smooth. I mean, yes, I did oil it up and I have cleaned the wheels, but apart from that, like, it's like, I'd say that's like factory new. And look at the detail on the number 5. Looks absolutely, well, splendid, as James says to himself, like, because he is a splendid red engine. Let's make him go backwards again. Give it a little bit more, just a tiny bit more power, so it goes a bit more faster. But look how smooth that runs. It's like scary because it's running that smooth. I am so impressed. I really am. It's gone out of focus again. This silly camera. Then go backwards again. Final test. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Well, splendid is the word I should use. Okay, now that we've done the crawl test and had a closer look at the detail, I think it's time to give James some coaches, because James doesn't really like pulling trucks, because he thinks he's too splendid to be pulling trucks, and he doesn't want to ruin his lovely red coat of paint. So we're going to give him some maroon Mark 1 coaches, because they're not as bright as shiny as James, but like they do go well with James's red coat. So let's back James up, and let's get him coupled up to the coaches. I think he's coupled up. Yes, looks good. And I think James is ready to get going. So let's zoom in just a little bit. Are you ready there, James? Yeah, James looks happy. He's happy to be pulling some coaches and some passengers. So let's get James moving, and let's see how well he runs. So take it away, James. We're counting on you. And away he goes. And I think to be running with James today, we should have Gordon, the big blue express train. So let's get Gordon moving. Let's give him a bit of power. And away he goes. Right, my friends, I ran James in for about half an hour, and it is dead smooth. I can almost say perfect. It's such a smooth runner, and I'm just so impressed of how much detail there is in that model. But now I have all of my Thomas and Friends characters all lined up, and it's a very colourful collection, isn't it? Now you're probably thinking, hold on, Oliver, you have not completed your collection because I'm missing Toby, the tram engine. Well, I have to say, unfortunately, I'm not actually going to collect Toby because Toby was not part of the 2016 collection because Hornby didn't make a newer version of Toby, which is slightly annoying. And because these guys were made in 2016, Toby does not count. So, apart from Toby, the 2016 collection is complete, and that was basically what I was going for, really. Now, the question you're probably asking is, which model is my favourite? Now, I have to say, because James is the only red engine on Sodor, it's one of my top 3 favourite models out of these guys. But out of all of these 6 engines, which one would I prefer? Well, I do like Henry very much, because the fact that Henry's design is based off a Black 5, the detail on Henry is amazing, and I just love Henry's character. But I also like Gordon, because Gordon is based off an A1/A3, which is the same class as the Flying Scotsman. So it's a 3-way tie between the Hornby James, the Hornby Gordon, and the Hornby Henry. So I think I could not choose which one is my most favourite, because it is a tie between James, Gordon, and Henry. So those 3 are my top favourites from the Hornby Thomas and Friends collection. But if you guys have a different opinion and you don't agree with what I'm saying, leave your answer in the comment section down below and tell me which model do you think is your favourite out of these 6. Because, I mean, I do like Percy, because Percy is based off a saddle tank engine. Thomas the tank engine is based off an E2. Edward, I'm not actually sure what Edward is based off. I think Edward was a mixture between 2 different engines, I'm not sure. But I do like Henry, the fact that he's based off a Black 5, and I do love the Black 5s. And I do like Gordon because it's based off the Flying Scotsman's class. Well, not the Flying Scotsman's class, sorry, the class A1/A3, that's what I meant to say. But yeah, James, Gordon, and Henry are probably my top favourite out of all of the 6 models. James, Gordon, and Henry are possibly my favourite. But that concludes our video for today, my friends. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. All the links are in the description. This is so cool. I finally completed my collection. Finally. Ooh, it's so good. I recommend you guys doing this, right? You've got to collect, in my opinion, I think you've got to collect all of these 6 engines for your model railway collection, because I just think it's nice. But I have to be honest, they are very rare and they're very pricey. So, but, you know, I think it's worth it, though. It's so cool. But, yes, have a good day, my friends, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye for now. Bye. These things, sort of.